Hello, welcome to the Comics Panel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Marvel 2-in-1 and the Fantastic Four.
Make it so, number one. Sorry, I had to throw the Star Trek thing.
Okay, Marvel 2-in-1 is back, and it's featuring Ben Grimm, the Thing, and the Human Torch. And one of the things that's really cool about this is not only is it a really great book because they're really great characters, but I think they're starting to get the Fantastic Four back together for once, for really good, in the Marvel Universe.
It's about time.
Yeah, I'll say it's about time. Well, basically what happened in the last bout of the Secret Wars, Doom got control of everything, and in the end, Molecule Man and Reed Richards, and the big boom happened, and Reed Richards and Sue Richards and the kids, Franklin and Valeria, all got lost in the multiplane. And they've been pretty much gone from the Marvel Universe since then. So what's happening here in Marvel 2-in-1 is Ben and Johnny are going to look for Reed and Sue and the kids. And it's really getting pretty good. Ben and Johnny are losing their powers. And Johnny is really being affected by it. Plus, he's really depressed. So Ben's trying to
get him back in
getting
the
back
swing
together.
of things.
Yeah,
Give him a mission.
And Dr. Doom's involved in this too. He's been in every issue so far. And
the Thinker's coming back.
Yeah, the Mad Thinker's coming back, so we might get a new Frightful Four and things like that, but that's in the future. Who knows what Dr. Doom's doing? He might just be messing with Ben and Johnny, but he might not be, because what happened was Dr. Doom says to Ben, here's this message, it's only for you, it's from Reed.
But do you trust
Ben
him?
gets it, and basically Reed says, hey, if we all die, you should go on exploring. And Johnny's really down, so Ben lies to Johnny and says, well, I got a message from Reed. He's somewhere out there in the multiplane, and it's up to us to go get him and find him and bring him back. So that gives Johnny a purpose and a mission, so it's them guys out doing it and looking for him and things like that. And Dr. Doom is following along to see what really happens. Because I think he's half going nuts without Reed Richards in his life anyway, even though he hates him and everything else, and but he wants to be sure that there is no Reed Richards. So he's definitely going along for the ride, monitoring what's going on to see what happens if they find Reed and Sue and the kids. So it's a really great story so far. I mean, we've got 3 issues out. Marvel 2-in-1. Check it out.
Definitely worth the read, especially if they're going to relaunch Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And if they do relaunch the Fantastic Four, I'm sick and tired of them ruining the Fantastic Four. If they do it like this, with the great story, good plot lines, not babysitting the kids.
Yeah. Do it like it used to be. When they're a family and they get along, but at the same time, they have their fights, but they all come together when it needs to be. And you don't get much really better characters than those 4 of them, and some of the best villains ever. Dr. Doom is definitely one of the best villains ever created for any comic book.
Now, this is the volume 2, so to speak, of the Marvel 2-in-1.
Yeah, 2, maybe even 3, but definitely at least volume 2.
The original ones always featured the Thing and
teamed
another
up
character.
with somebody else.
So whether this is going to continue on with other characters after the story arc, or if it's going to go into the Fantastic Four, we have yet to find out.
Yeah, hopefully this will be a launching pad to get the Fantastic Four back together in the Marvel Universe as a team, or at least the characters back together, so we can see some really neat stuff.
You do need them back in the Marvel Universe. They were the ones that started it all.
Pretty much. What some people have referred to as the Big Bang in comics basically started in 1961 with Fantastic Four #1. And
how ironic does that fit? They're up in space, get hit with cosmic radiation.
Yeah. Well, there was the big space race and everything else was going on, so Stan Lee and Jack Kirby got together and their assignment was basically to come up with a team because Justice League was doing really well over at DC. So they had to come up with some kind of team book. And it was really a good chance for Stan Lee to not only do that, but he wanted to do things a little bit different and make things more of a...
He was ready to give it up. And then his wife said, if you're going to do something, do it your way.
Your way.
This was a
his
combination
opportunity
of both of them putting their heads together and doing something that was totally different.
And it really changed comics in a lot of ways. For one thing, it gave superheroes their own personal problems and things like that. So it really humanized a lot of characters. Supervillains and superheroes all had their problems and things like that.
Made it a little bit more relatable to the everyday person.
Definitely. And they started out in Center City, but after their first couple issues, they were definitely in Manhattan, New York. And that was a new revelation for comics. Comics were always set in, Metropolis or some other city, made-up places.
Gave something everybody could relate to.
Yeah, I mean, this was taking place in, New York City, places they could recognize easily. And that's also when they came up with what they call the Marvel way of doing comics, writing and drawing comics. And basically, Stan Lee would come up with an idea, and he would give it to his artist and say, this is what I need to happen in 32 pages or whatever. And then the artist would make that happen, and he would be given certain key elements, and he'd have to make that happen, and then they'd give it back to the artist, to the writer, and the writer would go in and fill in all the dialogue and everything and make it all complete. And this ended up being, it was made to be super speedy because there was like 5 or 6 guys doing everything in Marvel at this time, and it was made for speed, but it turned out to be a really good way of telling stories because you had a lot more input from the artist who's actually drawing out the panels and things like that. It gave them a lot more liberty, and it worked really well. And it kind of really became the standard way that Marvel did their books for a long time and revolutionized a lot of things.
So what were some of your most memorable Fantastic Four books or stories? And it couldn't be artists and writers, too.
Yeah, definitely the Galactus stuff. That's really neat. Another first appearance, Fantastic Four book. It was Galactus and Silver Surfer. That's great stuff. That's when you got really super cosmic, and they got into just having the big bad monster from outer space come down, and it's defeated in one issue. It became this big long-running thing, and there's these godlike things out there in the universe, eating planets and stuff like that. And that gave a much bigger and broader story for all kinds of characters,
I mean, they introduced Inhumans, which is popular today. Got their TV show, movie, and own series. Black Panther was introduced in
Number
Fantastic
54.
Four, and, which is out in a movie now. If you didn't go see it,
if you didn't see it yet,
go see it. I heard it's really good.
Not a lot of people started in Fantastic Four, and a lot of basic concepts that, a lot of ways, really created the Marvel Universe. Just lots and lots and stuff, and they were actually one of the first Marvels to become animated for a cartoon. In the late 60s, there was the Fantastic Four, and they've had several cartoons through the years. We remember the one with Herbie.
Herbie the robot,
yeah.
1970s.
That was in the 70s. They
even
got rid
put
of
him
the
in
Human
comic book,
Torch.
too,
Yeah, they got rid of the Human Torch, and they replaced him with Herbie the robot for the cartoon series. And the reason they did that was Irwin Allen, who did a lot of 1960s television shows and things like that, was going to do a Human Torch movie, and he had the rights to the Human Torch, even though it was going to be a movie about the original Human Torch, the android, and not Johnny Storm. It still was the Human Torch, and there was some, licensing things going on there. So they just decided to go with a robot. And, I remember thinking, oh, man, where's the Human Torch? But it wasn't that bad of a show. But, and from there, they actually did the notorious Fantastic Four live-action movie after that, which no one ever got to see. It was never debuted. anywhere.
I forgot about that one.
They spent a lot of money on it, and just never at the very end they decided they're not going to show it.
And then they came up with 3 movies that you're better off just reading the books.
Probably should have released the very first one they did.
Don't even worry about seeing the movies. You're not missing anything. Just go to the comic book store, buy a bunch of the back issues or the graphic novels, and just read and
that's
enjoy
the
your
Fantastic
stories.
Four you want to enjoy, not so much the movies.
The early Byrne stuff was really good.
Burn Run was really great. Really
I thought
good.
towards
on
the end it got a
Fantastic
little
Four.
funky, but other than
That's
that,
how,
I mean,
yeah.
his early stuff was fantastic, and
Absolutely.
the Kirby stuff. But some of my favorite stuff is like from issues like 100 to about 250.
Yeah.
You know, they had some fantastic art, fantastic stories, bunch of characters in there, but even the early stuff was still great. So.
Oh yeah. This we're going all over the place in those issues. Lots of different artists were taken over at that time because Kirby had left, and some of the mainstays that were after that. But really good art, really good storytelling all throughout that. And then, you know, Byrne got a hold of it, and he was on there for quite a long run. And he replaced the Thing with the She-Hulk, and she became a member of the Fantastic Four.
Yep, Johnny Storm's girlfriend Frankie became what, Supernova?
Supernova,
Became
yeah.
a Herald of Galactus, and which has a
And-
really
and-
cool
and
cover.
Crystal
because I think
was
it's
actually when
yeah.
Sue.
From the Inhumans.
Yeah, Crystal took over for Sue
yeah.
when she was on maternity leave. Bunch of different people have been in the Fantastic Four, but that's pretty much it, I think.
But yeah, definitely a lot of the old Marvel 2-in-1 books and Fantastic Four are available in graphic novels, both hard and soft covered, at your local comic book store, as well as back issues. So
Check
go
in
to
the
your
bins.
local store and patronize your store and buy some of these issues. Check them out. They're great reads.
Yep, that's it.
Until the next episode, thank you for watching us.
And please leave
Leave
your
your
name in
comments in the space
the
below
space below, and like us on Facebook.
and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.